Hey guys, gals, and anything in between, Silverleaf here, and welcome to Lore Time with Silverleaf. Today, I will be investigating and sharing with you a specified topic related to the Elder Scrolls lore. Today's video will be focused on a message that I believe anyone wanting to study lore, or is just interested in the Elder Scrolls universe, should always take regard with, and that is, to take narrative with a grain of skooma. Oh shit, wait what? Sorry, kin, that's the skooma addict showing in me. Anyway, when I tell some Elder Scrolls fans this, they always respond, if it's in the game, then it's canon, end of story. To those people in particular, you are missing the point, or more or less misunderstanding my point. Yes, it is what one deems canon, as in official material, but such a mindset only allows one to merely scratch the surface of lore. With that said, let us visualize lore from a philosophical scope. Just like in the real world, not everything people have written in a book or say to you is completely true. The same can be applied to any NPC or book in the Elder Scrolls universe. There are a lot of NPCs that exaggerate rumors or a story of theirs. We can see this with the acclaimed Ninth Divine Telos, for instance. Now before you start readying your axes to lop my head off, or light the whole tavern on fire, you pyromaniacs hear me out. The great and mighty Telos may not even be a divine, for all we know he could just be a dead man. The only evidence we have of Telos being a divine is over 500 years of rumors and propaganda from an empire who has laughable propaganda. In the latter week, I had an interesting conversation with a lore scholar who has this to say. Telos had about as much hard proof as any Adric divinity to the believer within the Elder Scrolls, to be fair. However, propaganda sustained Telos, as it required that he be believed in the Kelpa, and his divinity was held as a matter of fact, at least by the Nords and the Dunmer, remembering that Vivek ALMSIVI afforded him acknowledgement of divine right as facts within temple doctrine, outspokenly. While to the Nords, Telos was as real as all the fathers that preceded him, and proof could be discovered by any clever man that made the climb to High Hrothgar, and higher still. However, what isn't discussed too much is the Numidian's relationship to Telos in relevance to his divinity, which is a shame. At least in terms of what the common people would be aware of. So, not touching directly on the Mantella Arcturian heresy, it's somewhat ridiculous that people in the Elder Scrolls don't talk more about how Tiber used a god robot to stomp down the remaining kingdoms of Tamriel. Now, if you have no idea what the Mantella or Arcturian heresy is, allow me to very briefly convey it to you. The Numidium is powered by a gem known as the Mantella. The Mantella was infused with the life force of Tiber Septim's Imperial Battle Mage, and with it, Septim crushed all who stood in his way. The Arcturian heresy is a set of events with some arguing that it's a lie. With that, there have been many debates on this topic, and further emphasizes my point as to why you should take regard with narrative. For further study on the Mantella and Arcturian heresy, I'll link some useful sources in the description of this video. Another instance is Daggerthur and his ideologies. In a section of Daggerthur's plans written by the Tribunal Temple, it states, one of Daggerthur's objectives is to expose the false worship of the Tribunal and destroy the ecclesiastical authority and political power of the Temple. These plans were formed as noted in Daggerthur's plans, from the interrogation of captured sleepers and six-house cultists, from study of manuscripts written by cultists and victims of dream-induced mania, from interviews with Lord Vivek concerning historical campaigns against Red Mountain, and from broad conjectures and inferences made upon these materials. This is our best estimate of Daggerthur's motivations and objectives in this most recent phase of his war upon Morrowind. Now note that this is the Tribunal Temple's best estimate, So there is no telling if what was confessed in these apparent interrogations are fact or false. If one were to study in depth the events that took place in Morrowind in the Third Era, with the Sixth House, the Tribunal Temple, and the Nerevarine, one could no doubt question the legitimacy of the Tribunal. In fact, I would dare to go further by saying one who studies this section of law would not be able to fully provide proof that either side is right or wrong. And instead, the sense of morality in this respect is rather grey, just as some real-world groups, organisations, or leaders aren't in the sense of morality simply black and white. In the real world, there are figures with power and authority who put on the outer shell of themselves to seemingly be moral and claim to promote good values, while behind closed doors, they are committing acts that would be very questionable to whether their outer portrait shown to the public is genuine or a facade. To any of you who have delved deep into the pits of these topics, it is safe to say that one will find themselves caught in a web of complexities, just like we approach events and ideologies of real-world law. And so we may find many who are devout to the Elder Scrolls lore will debate and yet not always find the answer, or at least, to say, a satiating one, but rather resulting in more and more questions begging to be answered. After all, lore can be subjective, but that's the fun of it all, wandering and dabbling in the mystery. Thank you all for watching. Comment your thoughts in relation to narrative and like this video if you enjoyed. Also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to stay tuned for more content. I really appreciate the support. Until next time, bye for now, my kin.